Hired last summer, Thomas Frank was supposed to bring calm and clarity to Spurs in North London. Instead, the patience is cracking. After a flat 0-0 at Brentford, the travelling Spurs fans booed and sang "Boring, boring Tottenham." Now the talk is getting louder. Frank could be fired soon if results don't flip fast. At Spurs, momentum isn't a luxury, it's job security. So, if they pull the trigger, here are 7 names who could replace him. Coming in at number 7, Robbie Keane. This is the nostalgia pick, but it's not only vibes. Former Spurs defender Ramon Vega has publicly said Thomas Frank should go and that Keane should take on the job. And Vega isn't the only ex-Spurs voice pushing Keane's name. Former Spurs manager Harry Redknapp has backed Keane as a coach before, saying that he would take him all day long on a coaching staff. Meanwhile, former Spurs midfielder Jamie O'Hara has also floated Keane's name for big jobs, showing the support isn't just one person talking. The reason people take this seriously is Keane has actually won as a manager. He won the Israeli League with Maccabi Tel Aviv in his first season, and he also won the Toto Cup. He is now head coach at Ferencváros. But the problem is, he just signed a contract extension in December 2025, so he's not free. Spurs would have to pay compensation, and Keane would be leaving a job where he's already trusted. So yes, it's possible, but it would be a bold, expensive jump. He knows Spurs, the stadium, and the pressure. He speaks well, and he can set standards. But managing Spurs is a different level. Every bad half becomes a headline, and you get little time. Number 6. The name Spurs fans whisper about the most. Mauricio Pochettino. He's currently the United States men's national team coach on a contract designed to run through the 2026 World Cup. And when Spurs were hiring in 2025, he shut the rumours down himself, saying a Tottenham return was not realistic at that time. Still, Spurs fans remember the big moments. Under him, Tottenham reached the Champions League final in 2019, the closest they've been to the biggest prize in Europe. He made Spurs believe again on big nights. He has that Spurs connection. He knows the training ground, the crowd, and how really loud North London gets when it turns. So how could it happen? Timing. If Spurs decide they want Poch, the clean plan is to wait until after the 2026 World Cup when he can walk away without drama. And that's where the caretaker idea comes in. Spurs could run a short-term stopgap and keep the seat warm. Usually an assistant steps in. Their current first-team staff includes assistant coach Justin Cochran, and the club's under-21s are led by Wayne Burnett. Both in-house options if they need someone temporarily. It's risky, but it's a real strategy. Survive the season, then go all in for the reunion. At number 5, Enzo Maresca. This is the available now option. Chelsea have officially confirmed they've parted company with him, and their own statement credits him with winning the Conference League and the FIFA Club World Cup while he was there. So Spurs could call today and get a fast reset. He's also a clear system coach. He worked under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City, and Guardiola called him an incredible manager after the Chelsea split. But here's the catch. For weeks before he was sacked, Maresca was being linked with the Manchester City job as a future Guardiola replacement in multiple reports. And when those links were happening in December, Maresca himself said it was 100% speculation. Now that he's free, Spurs would have to ask a real question. Does he even want to jump straight into another storm? Or does he wait and hope City opens up later? That uncertainty is the risk with this pick. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit like and subscribe and drop a comment. Would you take a proven system coach, or do Spurs need a pure motivator right now? Now, the next pick is the kind Spurs would have to pay for, but it might be worth every penny. Sliding in at number 4, Roberto De Zerbi. This is the football idea pick. If Spurs want a coach who makes the team look brave and organised fast, De Zerbi is one of the clearest names out there. But the first problem is simple. He's not free. Marseille announced his appointment in June 2024 on a deal for the next 3 seasons, and multiple reports list his contract running until 2027. Now the fun part. Why do clubs chase him? Because his teams play like they're setting traps. An easy De Zerbi story is this. His defenders will keep passing short on purpose, almost too risky, just to pull the other team forward. Then, the moment the press bites, he plays through it and suddenly there's space to attack. That is his whole thing. Invite pressure, then punish it. He did it at Brighton and made history. Under him, Brighton finished 6th in the 22-23 campaign campaign, their best ever league finish, and qualified for Europe for the first time. They also reached the FA Cup semi-finals. So if Spurs go for him, it's a serious move. They would be buying a clear style and paying to pull him out of Marseille. Next up at number 3, Andoni Iraola. This one is the modern Premier League press pick. Spurs already liked him before. When they were looking for a new coach in 2025, reports said that Iraola was on the shortlist along with Thomas Frank and Marco Silva. The big question is, can Tottenham get him? Iraola signed a contract extension with Bournemouth in May 2024 that keeps him there until at least the end of this season. Bournemouth announced it and Reuters reported the same timeline, so Spurs would likely have to pay a fee, not just ask nicely. When Bournemouth faced Tottenham last August, many pundits said Bournemouth were better in every department, and there were also boos at full time from Spurs home fans. That is the Iraola story in one match. Fast pressure, constant running, and Spurs struggling to breathe. But Iraola signed a Bournemouth extension that keeps him there until the end of the 25-26 season, so Spurs will probably need to pay compensation to get him. Iraola's style is clear and easy to understand. Win the ball back fast, attack quickly, and make the other team panic. If Spurs want energy and a plan that shows up on the pitch right away, Iraola is a real option, just not a cheap one. But if Spurs want a move that's still ambitious, the next name is all about timing. That's why it's rising up the list. Number 2, Oliver Glasner. Crystal Palace appointed him in February 2024, and the club confirmed his contract runs until the end of this season. That matters because it creates a clear window where Spurs could try to pounce if Palace can't tie him down. In October 2025, Palace's chairman even said they'd already spoken about an extension. He has already won a big trophy as a coach. He guided Eintracht Frankfurt to the Europa League title in 2022, and his teams have a clear shape and clear rules. He often uses a back three and builds pressing traps to win the ball back, not just sit deep and hope. Did you know, last month Glasner literally listed Palace's next 9 matches from memory in an interview, like he had the whole schedule downloaded in his brain, which tells you how intense and organised he is. If Spurs want someone who can make the team look organised fast, Glasner is that. The catch is simple. He's a Palace coach, under contract, and Spurs would likely need to pay to get him early. Finally, at number 1, Marco Silva. For Spurs, this can be the easiest to get Premier League option. Spurs have already looked at him before. During their 2025 manager search, reports said Silva was one of the leading names on Tottenham's shortlist, alongside Thomas Frank and Andoni Iraola. He's under contract with Fulham until the end of this season, having been there since 2021, and even took Fulham back to the Premier League in his first season, so he knows how to build a team fast. Last November, Fulham went to Tottenham Stadium and won 2-1, scoring twice inside the first 6 minutes. Coincidentally, it was Silva's 200th game in charge, while Spurs fans booed the team after a big goalkeeper mistake. Silva isn't a big headline coach, he's a builder. His teams are organised, they press at the right time, and they know their jobs. That's exactly what Spurs fans ask for when matches feel messy. Also, he's calm when he speaks. He doesn't turn everything into drama. He talks about small details. Spurs could use that right now. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next upload. Drop your pick in the comments too. Who should Spurs trust if they make a change? We read everything. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
This new year, Goal 90 drops something special. Football-inspired phone cases made for the Goal 90 fam. From club colours to country pride, we've got you covered. And the best part? Customise it with your name and number. Head to the Goal 90 shop and get yours now.